Hey guys and girls, I'm James and welcome to my channel. Today we're taking a look at the 4DRC Vinci V8 drone, but this one has a camera. 6 months ago I reviewed this one without the camera, and this one's on Amazon at this price right now, and the one without the camera is this price because y'all.
But I actually bought mine on eBay for this price, which makes it a really good deal.
Because y'all kept asking me, how do these two drones compare? Well, I'm going to go fly this one outdoors and indoors and show you how well it flies and how good the camera works. So if you're like me and you didn't want to read the instructions and you wanted to jump on YouTube to figure out how to get this in the air, that's what we're going to do now. We'll go over the app and the features of the drone and how to get it in the air, and then I'll come back for my final review and I'll compare it to some other mini drones that are in the same price point. So if you've already bought it, congratulations on starting with the mini drone before you go out and buy a more expensive drone. And if you're thinking about buying it, I'll go over that in my final review. But let's review the drone and the features.
All right, the original V8 weighed in at 46 grams, but the one with the camera weighs in at 48 grams. And the V9 that I'm reviewing next weighs in at 52 grams. It's a foldable version of it. So how much is 48 grams? It's about as much as AirPods. Let me start by saying, look at this really nice case it comes in. It's got a nice handle, zipper. You open it up, you've got the remote control of the drone, and the extra batteries go here. And inside this pocket here, it will come the two batteries, your prop removal tool. Be sure and use the prop removal tool if you've damaged one of the props. Don't just pull on it or you'll pull the wires out. And these blades are labeled A and B, so this one's B2 and this one will be A1. Be sure you put the right props if you have to replace them. And how you replace them, and the reason it comes with the handy dandy screwdriver is you look right here, you gotta take these little bitty screws off to take this top off to be able to replace the props. But I can't imagine one of them getting damaged inside here. So to charge the batteries, it's a USB, you just plug it in here, and there's a little red light and it'll go off when it finishes charging. It takes about an hour and you get about 8-9 minutes of flight time. So on the remote, it is a little bit different than the last one because the power switch was here, and now your power switch is right here. So this folds up and holds your phone right here. And on the remote, on this side, is your flip button. So you push the button and go in any direction and it'll flip that button. On this side is your 3-speed button. And every time you push it, you'll hear a beep. 1 beep, 2 beeps, 3 beeps for the different speeds. These are your trim buttons. So if it seems to be drifting to the left or to the right, you just push the opposite button until you get it straightened out. It takes a little bit of practice, but you'll get the hang of it. And the remote does take 3 AA's in the back. Right here is your return to home button. Don't ever use that. It's not a GPS button. You push that, it'll fly into a wall. Here's your headless mode. Don't ever use that. That changes the orientation of the drone. And the whole point of a beginner drone is to learn how to fly them. Right here, this is the one you're going to use the most. This is the takeoff and land button. And this button, it calls it induction mode, but when you press that, it'll only stay in speed 1. And if you look, there's 2 sensors on both sides, and it's obstacle avoidance where you can put your hand and you can fly it, controlling it with your hands. You'll have to play around a little bit with that to see how that works, and I'll try it when I'm flying it. So on the drone, you have to do it in this rotation. You have to turn the drone on first, the lights will be blinking, then you turn on the remote, and then to get it to bind, you go up and down, up, down. Then you can hit this button and it'll take off. And you hit the button again to make it land. So to get the camera to work, you gotta use the app. So it comes with a really nice instruction booklet. It's really thick because it's in lots of languages. So you open it up to page 10, open up your phone, open up the camera, then hold it on the ISO, and it'll take you to the App Store, and then you download the app. You can open up the app, but there's something else you gotta do first. You gotta go out of the app with the drone and the remote still on, go to your settings, go to Wi-Fi, and then you'll see the 4DRC, and this is how you get the camera to work. Once you see the check on, then you can go back to the app, and it'll be full size on your phone. So don't use the app when you're flying, just watch the video on it, except you want to press this to take a button and this one to start a video. I'll show you. And here's what the video looks like with me just holding it in my hand. It's real blurry, a lot of jello. All right, let's go put her up in the air and see how she flies.
The wind's pushing it. It's gonna be really fast coming back against the wind. So that's full throttle into a wind. So you really can't fly it outside much. Look at that.
All right, guys, I'm only going to show about a minute of it flying around outside because it's kind of windy, but it is a really good way to hone your skills if you're an advanced flyer. If you're a beginner, I say start indoors. I do really like the blue lights and the red lights in the back. It helps you keep the orientation of the drone when you're flying outside. So beginner drones are a great way to learn how to fly. People buy an expensive drone, they come home and they crash it and they think stupid drone, but really it's the fact that they've not learned the orientation of it. So you really want to start with the beginner drone. I would start indoors. I'm going to take it indoors and we're going to fly it. And here's a flip of it in slow motion, kind of cool. The flip button works really good. And here I'm going to start pushing it to the limits of how far it can go to test the range. I would suggest not doing this because the drone wants to descend very slowly. So if the wind starts to pick up, it's going to go bye-bye. So I wouldn't try this unless there's absolutely no wind. But the range was really good on it. It didn't lose any of the functions of the controls the farther I went out. So I got a good shot of the sunset. So let's take it inside and let's see how she flies indoors.
Boy, speed 1 really slow. It's a good way to learn though. And speed 1 is where, yeah, wow. That's almost too much. So, and this is induction mode. Yeah.
All right, so I just played a little bit inside so you can see how loud it is. I really didn't like the induction mode, so if you start in speed 1, which you should to learn how to fly the drone, if you push the induction mode, it's going to turn on the obstacle avoidance. But if it gets close to something, it seems to bounce away from it too far and too fast. You saw how it jumped up and hit the ceiling and came down and crashed. So I wouldn't even use that, and I wouldn't use the app when you're flying it as far as looking at the video or the functions of it. Just use the controller. So start in speed 1, then go to speed 2, speed 3, and after a while when you're flying it, your subconscious is going to take over and you're not going to even realize that you're using the orientation of the controls without thinking. And that's the whole reason of starting with the mini drone. So even though I'm pointing out some of the bad things about this drone, don't get me wrong, it flies really good. There's no delay in the latency of the controls. When you turn them, it turns just really quick. But the camera's really bad. I'll show you that in a minute. So if you're buying a mini drone and you want a camera, I'll talk about that at the end, but the camera's really bad on this thing. But it is a lot of fun to fly. And here I'll show you my dogs. Their favorite thing to do is to chase a mini drone around. When it's raining outside, I want to give them exercise. And here they go. You might be thinking, why is he showing these dogs chase a mini drone around? Because it's a really good exercise to do. You start thinking about the dogs and you quit thinking about what you're doing with the drone, and before long you're flying the drone and you don't even realize it. Also, it's a lot of fun and a good exercise for your dogs. As I mentioned, it does take about an hour to charge the batteries and you get about 10 minutes of flight time. Another thing too is, even though he's a 15-year-old beagle, watch right here, he catches it right in his mouth, right here. And then I mentioned that you can't bend the props. Well, that's how you bend the props. All right, so now I'm gonna show you some video from the camera as it's flying around. You'll see that the video is really bad. It's really shaky, a lot of jello, a lot of distortion when it's turning and stuff. The only practice this would be good for is to learn how to use a camera on a drone, so you can learn how to, the pre-start checklist, go over everything, make sure everything's doing right. That way when you do get a camera drone and you're flying it, you are used to flying with the camera drone.
So thanks so much for watching my review of the 4DRC V8 mini drone. So what do I think about it? I think it's a great beginner mini drone. I mean, you got to start with the beginner mini drone to learn the orientation of a drone. I still think the best beginner mini drone is the Holystone HS210, which is this price point on Amazon right now, because this one flies the best, but it doesn't have a camera. So if you want one with a camera, I don't think this camera is very good. Matter of fact, it might be the worst camera I've ever seen on a drone. If you see the Holystone 420 that I reviewed last week, that thing has a really good camera and they're close to the same price point. It's this price point on Amazon right now. but they both fly about the same. But it's really loud. This one may be twice as loud as any of the other mini drones I've flown. I don't know if it's the plastics or the way the props work, but it's really loud. But it is really fast. It has multiple speeds, got a great carrying case, 3 batteries, a really nice controller. But for a few more dollars, you could move up to the Sandrock U61 and the Lulin U61, which are the same drones, and these fly really good and have a really good camera. Not as good as the 420 though, which is even cheaper. And for maybe 20 more dollars, you can move up to the HS340, which is you'd be really happy with this drone, but it doesn't have covered props. So comparing it to the covered prop mini drones, I think this one flies just as good, but it doesn't have a very good camera, and it's pretty loud. So as always, if you got something out of this, please like and subscribe. I have a lot of other mini drone reviews coming out. I'm going to even do the foldable version of this, which is the V9 next from 4DRC. So thanks so much, and I'll see you in the next one.